Hello, fellow beach maniacs and island music lovers. Welcome to the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast, where we dive into the stories behind the music. I'm your host, the beach maniac himself, Bill Hurley. We are so lucky today to have with us Jerry Diaz, the Godfather of Trop Rock. Jerry is a singer-songwriter from the Texas Gulf Coast. He began his music career in the 1990s as a founding member of the band Key West. And in 2022, he formed Jerry Diaz and Hanna's Reef, and the rest is history. Jerry's music blends trop rock, Texas country influences, Gulf Coast storytelling, and Caribbean sounds. He's won at least 7 Trop Rock Music Association awards for the band, as a songwriter, and for the Trop Rock event Pardi Gras. And in 2016, Jerry was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award called the Tin Cup Chalice, which has only been awarded to one other person, and that is Jimmy Buffett himself. So, hey, Jerry, thanks so much for being my guest on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Good to be here.
All right. I want to talk about your long, illustrious career and some of the great classic songs you've written and performed over the years. But first, let's dive right in and talk about the new album you have coming out called Find Your Beach. What makes this album different from your past music?
Well, I can tell you the production quality on this album is just light years ahead of anything else I've done. It really has a professional Nashville sound to it. My good friend Mark Morellis did all the recording, engineering, and production on this.
All right. And where was that done? Right in Texas?
No, Mark recently moved from Texas. He was a member of my band for many, many years, over 20 years. He recently moved to Minnesota to be closer to his daughter and her husband. He went to work for a company that builds recording equipment. And as a result, they set him up in the studio and asked him to start working on some projects. So he did. He recorded his own solo project first, and then he asked me if he could do that for me. And I said, hell yeah.
And the production quality turned out better than you've ever had before.
That is correct. In fact, I think people are going to be blown away by how good it sounds on the radio or on their own devices.
I've gotten a preview of some of those songs, and I couldn't agree more. They sound awesome. If there's a couple, 2 or 3 songs that you're most excited on this album for fans to hear, which ones would they be?
Wow, I tell you, I'm excited for quite a few of them, but the single we have out right now, which is Almost See Jamaica, is a song that we're going to put up for consideration for TRMA Song of the Year. But there's several others that I think as we roll them out one by one to the radio stations, they're going to be, I think people are going to really like it.
Tell me a little bit about Almost See Jamaica. What's that song about? How did it come about?
Well, the story for it came about while sitting in a local watering hole, a place near where I live, like not even a 10-minute drive, a restaurant, bar, palapa bar actually, called the Nature's River Wheelhouse. It's on a river called the Nature's River, which is the egress for the port of Beaumont, which is near my home. Then it goes out to the Gulf of Mexico from there. But this particular bar restaurant looks over the river, and with the palapa bar, it really has a feel of being on an island. I've been to a lot of Caribbean islands, and it looks very similar to it. So the idea was, sitting here looking out over this water, of course, with a few rum and Diet Cokes, you can almost see Jamaica.
So did you sit there and think about it and get the idea for the song at that moment?
The story for the song was kind of starting to develop there one Sunday afternoon. And then not long after that, I guess I had the idea in my head, and a song title kind of brewing. It literally came, the melody came to me, woke me up from sleep a few days later. And I think before I got out of bed, I had written the chorus pretty much, and then went back and wrote the verses for it a little later that day or later that week.
Isn't that amazing how that happens sometimes in your sleep? Has that happened to you
It
before?
has. In fact, recently it's happening more and more. I'm not sure why, but there's I guess there's kind of a point in time when you're not quite completely awake, but you're not asleep either. And you're just laying in bed and your mind starts to work, and sometimes the melodies come to you.
There's a place I love to go when I need to get away. A short journey from my home, but it takes me to a place where I can let my worries go and my tensions turn to sand. Pull up a bar on a river bank with a rum drink in my hand. But I can almost taste the islands from this bar stool, and I can almost feel that warm Montego breeze. I can almost smell the ocean and hear the steel drums near. Oh, I can almost see Jamaica from right here. Oh, I can almost see Jamaica from right here.
And there's another song. Well, the title song of the album is Find Your Beach. Tell us about that song.
Well, you know, the title for that is obviously inspired by the old Corona beer commercial. You know, I always thought when I heard that, Find Your Beach, that it would be a great song.
Yeah, I didn't really make that connection.
Well, that's their old ad campaign. You know, I think they shelved that one a couple of years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
I remember now.
It was their campaign for probably 5 years at least. Now their campaign is La Playa Awaits. But while that campaign was going on, I used to think about that title and think, one day I'm going to write that song, because it just, everybody knows it just kind of rolls off your tongue. And so I started thinking about what that meant to me and how I could write a song that other people would relate to. And that's kind of what it is. It's about, no matter what you're going through in day-to-day life, whether you live in a cold climate or you got a job that you don't like or whatever it might be, all you have to do is, keep looking for that beach for your happy place, basically. That's what that song's about.
Right. Kind of the perfect song for trop rockers and parrot heads. Right?
I hope it is.
Find your beach. When you find yourself tapping on that escape key, that's when you gotta find your beach. Pushing and shoving, the waves they keep coming. You're doing your best to survive. Layoffs and payoffs and someone named Madoff. It's a wonder that you're still alive. So you think back to that childhood feeling and the family vacations back then. That salty air can be quite appealing, makes you wanna go back there again. You've gotta find your beach. You've gotta find your beach. When the wind and the water seem so out of reach, that's when you gotta find your beach. You've gotta find your beach. You've gotta find your beach. When you find yourself tapping on that escape key, that's when you gotta find your beach. your beach. You've gotta find your beach. When the wind and the water seem so out of reach, that's when you've gotta find your beach. You've gotta find your beach. You've gotta find your beach. When you find yourself tapping on that escape key, that's when you gotta find your beach. When the wind and the water seem so out of reach, that's when you gotta find your beach.
And then you have more of a storytelling song called "Remember That Summer." Is that based on your life experiences?
Yeah, it is to a large extent. The inspiration for that song was thinking back on my youth, many trips to a local beach called Crystal Beach here on the Texas coast when I was a junior and senior in high school, and even a little bit after that when I was in college. Just a lot of my friends, we would all hang out. We had no money, we had nothing. I was in between playing in a garage band and going to college, and music was really not a part of my life other than being a fan of it. But that song is kind of a nostalgic look back at, growing up here near the Texas coast and just hanging out with my friends.
The album as a whole, Find Your Beach, was there anything particular about it that made it challenging for you or unique from your other music?
No, I wouldn't say challenging or unique. There is a recurring theme that I hadn't really thought about until I kind of started really just stepped back and started looking at the lyrics to the songs, and I realized there's a recurring theme of somebody searching for something or looking for something, and it wasn't a conscious effort to do that, but a lot of the songs are, there's Find Your Beach, there's Almost See Jamaica. It's really a nostalgic look, and I don't know if it's, as I was writing these songs, I was thinking about, I just retired from my other business, like less than a month ago. And I don't know, just turned 65 and maybe just looking back at my life a little bit. Now I'm like searching for the next chapter, I kind of feel like.
Is it true that it's been 8 years since your last album?
Yes, it is. It was 2018, Rum Drinks and Sandy Beaches. And there was no specific reason other than just trying to wrap up kind of the working part of my career, and like I said, at my other business, while maintaining a really heavy performing schedule that just really tied up my hands. I was still writing songs, but not making a conscious effort to get another album out. So some of these songs are 5 years old, really. Probably 4 or 5 years old, and they've been part of our. Go ahead.
Nobody's heard them before. Have you been playing them, or
I
nobody's
say
heard them before?
probably 4 of the songs we've been playing them live, and another 3 or 4 were written in the last 6 months to 8 months, and one of them was written right before I went into the studio. So.
We were young and free. I remember that summer. I remember that summer. Yeah, I remember that summer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I remember that summer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I remember that summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember that summer.
All right. And the album comes out, I understand, July 10th.
July 10th, which is will be not only digitally released at all the formats that we're people buy music at, but we'll also have a hard copy CD release party at this venue that I was talking about earlier, the Nature's River Wheelhouse, which is and it just so happened that we
Cool.
had scheduled that date, July 10th, back in November of last year, with the hope that eventually the CD would be out, early to midsummer, and it just worked out. I'll have the CDs, the actual hard copy CDs in my hand, um, probably later today. So
Awesome. All right. And you just got back from the Texas Trop Rock cruise. I saw a video online. I saw a lot of photos and videos from that cruise. It looked awesome. And one of them was everybody raising their glasses and toasting you while they were singing "We'll Get By," which was pretty amazing. I assume that was toward the end of the cruise.
yes, it was the last night of the cruise. It was in the dining room, of the cruise ship.
Yeah, yeah. So that was like the grand finale. I
Yeah,
take
and
it.
it was a surprise. I would just
Go
say it
ahead.
was a surprise to me. Earlier in the day, we had played another show on the boat, like maybe 6 hours before that, and two or three people had asked me to play that song, um, and I'd already made a playlist of songs I was going to play that day, and I said I'll try to do it if we have time, but when you're playing on a cruise ship, it's pretty strict times because they use the rooms for other purposes and other events. So I didn't get a chance to play it. So a couple of people, I guess, that wanted to hear that song organized that sing along in the dining. It was fun.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of your classic music, your vast collection of hits from over 3 decades. If you were to pick just a couple songs that you're most proud of, which ones would those be?
I think a song I'm most proud of is Rum in Pensacola. And I'm so happy that even today it really clearly reaches a lot of people whenever we play it live. People have told me they name different things, boats and other things in their life after that song. It's one of those songs that even in the simplest form, just me picking up a guitar and playing it, still sounds really good to me. Of course, We'll Get By. I would say I'm proud of that, but I guess I'm proud of the fact that so many people love that song. People send me videos from all over of groups of them getting together at other events where I'm not even at. They're singing it, and a lot of other folks, a lot of other artists cover that song. I guess most notably the Boat Drums do it. They did it on one of their CDs, and they play it live pretty often, I'd say, on some of the shows. But a lot of people cover that song, so I'm really proud of that.
For some reason, it's a good party song. People like to sing it
Hey,
as a
there's
group.
no question about it.
And probably another one that falls in that category is Beer in the
Beer in the
Cooler.
Cooler.
A good sing-along
It
song.
really is. It's a great live song.
Yeah.
It was Song of the Year for TRMA back in 2015. Yeah, it's a song people really like. There's quite a few that I really enjoy playing, and I'm glad that people enjoy hearing them. I guess one of the best things about doing this is when we play large events that are specifically Parrot Head or Trop Rock events. I can look out on the audience when we're playing our original music, and people know all the words to a lot of our songs. So that's very gratifying.
You have a song called Guys Like Us, which I believe you collaborated with Donnie Brewer
Yes,
on that one.
that is
that
correct,
right?
and that's off of the previous CD. Yeah, Donnie and I wrote that right here at my house. So, obviously a few years ago, and that's a song about what we do. Getting to play our music for great fans and the love and support we feel from those fans.
Right, and you get a lot of that, both of you.
Away, but I bet he never leaves his big island retreat. Ain't got no friends like us, just doing what we love. Guys like us singing for $1, guys like us singing for our friends. We don't do the things we oughta, but we do the things song in our heart. We're not trying to save the planet, we're just trying to do our part.
So as I mentioned, you're often referred to as the Godfather of Trop Rock. How did you get that nickname, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I'm not really even sure how I got that nickname. I think that maybe Donnie and Mike Nash started referring to me by that maybe about 10 years ago. And that's about how long it's been going on. Um, I think the reason that they got that idea is over the years I've really tried to find new artists in the trop rock music genre, and when I come across them, if I can, I really try to put them into other situations where people can hear their music. I've done that with a lot of people, probably a couple dozen people that otherwise weren't maybe having some doors open for them. So I think a lot of them happen to be talking to
Mm-hmm.
each other, and maybe Donnie or Mike heard that and said, "It's like I'm the Godfather. I've got all these connections." I'm more than happy to expose new artists to opportunities that'll hopefully further their career.
Can you think of a couple in particular whose careers took off as a result of your providing their
Well,
assistance to
I
them?
say Mike Nash and Donnie right off the bat, and then also Jonas Lawrence, Dan Sullivan, who were just with me on the Texas Trop Rock cruise, um, and then some others that were probably. I mean, when I say I opened doors for them, I kind of exposed them to a trop rock world that they didn't know about. Maybe they were already established artists, even folks
Mm-hmm.
like Kerry Welling and Eric Erdman, heck, Danny Rosado. But yeah, there's quite a few.
I understand you also were at least a driving force, if not creator, of the Meeting of the Minds, which, of course, has become Trop Rock Community's premier annual festival and award celebration. What's the story behind that?
Well, back in the early 90s, we formed a Parrot Head Club, the second one. I say we, my wife and friends and family of ours. We already had kind of a social group together. We called ourselves a beach club, and we would do like beach cleanups here close to home, and uh, we would meet, have happy hours like social groups do. And we heard about the first Parody Club in Atlanta that Scott Nickerson had formed. I think there was a small article in the Coconut Telegraph that was saying, "Hey, if you're interested in starting a Parody Club, contact us and we'll tell you what the Atlanta Parody Club's doing." So we did that, and in the process of doing that, I got in touch with Scott, and we started talking back and forth. We were, I guess, for quite a while, the only two parrot head clubs around for at least a year. Um, and we would, like I said, talk back and forth, compare notes, and he tell me things they were doing, and I tell him about activities we were doing with our club. And finally, one day I said, you know what we should do is we should get both of our clubs together in one place, maybe not in Atlanta or on the Texas coast, but somewhere close in between that we can all go to, someplace fun. And to me, the obvious place was New Orleans because it's kind of in between both of us. Plus, it's also a place where Jimmy Buffett, did a lot of his early singing and songwriting. So it seemed like a natural thing to do. Um,
Yeah.
he thought that was a great idea too. We contacted the Coconut Telegraph, and I told them what we were planning to do and when we were going to do it. Um, they thought it was a great idea. They said, "Hey, do you mind if we tell other people about it in our newsletter?" So they did, and I guess the idea started in the summer of '92. We had the first meeting of the minds in December of '92, and in between that summer and December, by them promoting it, I think three or four more clubs started before we even got to New Orleans. by the time we left New Orleans, another dozen or so had decided to form Parrot Head group. Going into the first meeting of the minds, there was just Beaumont in Atlanta, but by January of the year, I guess '93, there was probably 15 clubs, and they just added in '93 and '94, many clubs started forming. That's how it started.
And so Meeting of the Minds started in New
It did.
Orleans. It eventually moved to Key West. What year was that?
Well, that was '97, if I'm 92, '93, '94. Okay, yeah. So there were 5 meeting of the minds in New Orleans, and in '97 it moved to Key West. But my role in all this was we, like I said, started the first one in '92. I drew up a sort of a schedule, an itinerary for that first one. It was just a 2-day thing, and it was really just kind of get together on Friday night, have a happy hour, which lasted till about 4 in the morning, and it went all over New Orleans. Actually, it was meant to just stay at the hotel, but then the next day, Saturday, there was sort of like a breakout session where I talked about what our club was doing and got Scott to talk about some things, and then we had another party Saturday night. But after that year, Jimmy Buffett's management team, they had somebody there, and they said, "Look, this is a great idea. We think you should keep doing this, but we really need to put some legal organization around this because there was no PHIP yet. But after that first meeting of the minds, that's when they drew up all the framework for PHIP and so forth. And I never ran another meeting of the minds after that. It was just to get it started. I handed over everything that we had done, and they said, "This is a great start." And they took it from there.
All right. And it's grown tremendously over the years. I imagine that first event, there weren't all that many people there. Is that right?
That is correct. There was only, I think, 85 people or so there. But of those 85 people, I think probably about 30 of them ended up starting their own Parrot Head club eventually. So.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And so overall, how do you feel about how Meeting of the Minds has grown and evolved over the years?
I'm very proud of it. I think the fact that PHIP decided to move to Key West, at the time I hated that it left New Orleans because New Orleans, I love New Orleans, and we had such great relationships there. But in hindsight, it was obviously a great move to make, to move it to Key West, because there was so much more infrastructure set up to accommodate, a growing event. So, yeah, no question.
And then it moved to Gulf Shores. Was that a good move?
I hope it is. I guess only time will tell. I think it was, put it this way, a very necessary move because of the situation in Key West with the host hotel and so forth. But who knows where it goes from here? I know obviously it's going to be in Gulf Shores this year and next, but you never know where it might end up moving to. So, or staying in Gulf Shores.
Yeah, and you also organize Pardi Gras. Tell us about that.
Well, Pardi Gras started to fill the gap, basically the void that was left in New Orleans after Meeting of the Minds moved to Key West. I decided, along with my family and friends, that hey, we can still get people to come to New Orleans. People still love coming to New Orleans, so why not start a new event? And that's what we did. And it started slow. I mean, just like Meeting of the Minds, there was less than 100 people the first year. Grew to about 150 people the second year, and by the fifth year it was 250, 300 people. And we've kind of decided to limit the number of folks that we will actually let register for it now, because the venues that we love to use, they can get pretty full. So we only have 300 people for the next Pardi Gras in January of next year. But in the past, we've had as many as 700 people at Pardi Gras. It was just too crowded. Wow. It was just way too crowded. So, yeah.
All right. And you just got back from the Texas Trop Rock cruise. Are you one of the organizers of that? I know you perform on it.
Yeah, well, that was the first one, and it was an idea I had a couple of years ago to just have a cruise that featured. Well, and here was the origins of that. There were a lot of folks who have come on our cruises before from all over the country, some of our land-based trips too, but a lot of folks here in Texas. There's a lot of trop rock fans who have told me for years. We would really like to do one of those trips with you, but we just can't afford to do that. So I started looking at a cruise and went out to Galveston. What would be the cost on that? Being as folks from Texas are within driving distance, that cuts out the airfare. So I thought, well, this is a great,
Yeah.
an affordable trip for almost anybody in Texas or Southwest Louisiana to drive to and be able to go on a cruise, a Caribbean cruise, and it that was the idea behind it.
All right. And you're going to continue that as an annual event now?
Haven't decided. I think we will continue it. Looking at whether or not doing it annually or maybe biannually, or not doing it at all. I mean, there's a lot of things going on out there in the trop rock world, a lot of trips and so forth. But I think the idea behind this was very solid. A lot of folks asked me, "Can we please do this again?" And um, I guess I'm leaning towards yes, we'll do it again. Probably not annually though. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to your musical
Mhm.
career. You no doubt get this a lot, but when I hear your music, I hear a lot of your fellow Texan, Jerry Jeff Walker.
Yep.
Has Jerry Jeff been influential in your career?
Yes, he very much has. I discovered Jerry Jeff and Jimmy Buffett about the same time, uh, back when I was in high school. Sometime between 17 and 19 years old, I discovered both of their music, and the I didn't even know at the time that they were friends and musical counterpart, cohorts. But I later found that out. It makes sense to me, of course. But um, I think especially in the early days, Jerry Jeff and Jimmy Buffett were probably had the same mindset towards making music, and some of the lyrics are very similar. I mean, you can see that they had a very similar personality at one point. I think not too long after that, they went in kind of different directions business wise, and but I still love Jerry Jeff Walker's music, and I think it'll stand the test of time.
Did you ever get to meet or play with Jerry Jeff?
No, I've never been. I've been to many of his shows. I'm um, just like with Buffett, but I've never been one to like go out of my way to try to meet somebody. I think if that had been a goal of mine, I probably could have met both of those guys, but uh, I I don't know. I guess just as someone who makes music as well, I always felt like I'd give them their space, and if we cross paths, so be it. But if not, you know, so be it too.
So, Jerry Jeff was a Texas guy. You're a Texas guy. There's a lot of trop rock-ish music coming out of Texas. What distinguishes Texas trop rock from, say, Florida trop rock?
Ooh, that's a good question. Mm. I guess I would say I know it when I hear it. I think a lot of people would say that. Yeah, I'd have to think about that. As I said, there is a difference.
Yeah, you just compared Jerry Jeff Walker and
Mhm.
Jimmy Buffett and how they kind of went off in different directions. And Jerry Jeff Walker, of course, had that strong Texas influence in his music. So there, like you said, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah, I think that early Jimmy Buffett was more similar. Early Jimmy Buffett music was more similar to Texas trop rock than later Jimmy Buffett music. I think what embodies Florida trop rock music to me is guys like Jim Morris and Sonny Jim, of course. And I think to some extent, Florida trop rock has more of a Caribbean nautical feel to it, and maybe Texas trop rock has more of a, I don't know, more of a country feel to it. It's kind of hard to really specify, but I think a lot of folks will probably feel the same way. Can't really put it into words. I probably could if I thought about it. You kind of put me on the spot here, so I will stick with it. I know it when I hear it.
That's the
There
perfect
you go.
answer. I think, that's how we all feel about it. We
Sure.
know it
I
when
love
we hear
all
it.
of it.
Overall, how has trop rock evolved over the years? You've been involved in it for a
Mhm.
long time. What evolution have you seen with trop rock?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. First of all, I think the themes and the topics, the lyrics, and so forth, really pretty much have not changed that much. It's really the same sentiment, the same idea behind the songs that it was back in the 90s. Uh, I think the fact that there's more of it, there are people who are willing to dedicate songwriting to doing it now is something new, or something that's evolved over a long time. Because back in the 90s, it was such a novelty that you knew if you were, as an artist, if you were uh, going to go down the trop rock road, you were probably going to be kind of lonely because there wasn't a whole lot out there. There wasn't a huge audience for it yet, but there's such
Yeah.
a really great audience for it now that you're seeing so many people willing to dedicate their artistic uh, ability into doing trop rock music. Folks that maybe 25 years ago would have said, "Yeah, I like those kind of songs, but I think I better stick to what I'm doing to be successful." Uh, but now, because of the widespread acceptance of trop rock music, and I think it really has more to go too. I mean, I think we'll see trop rock music become more and more widespread in the future. But because of that, I think you're seeing more people enter the trop rock world, which I think is a great thing. Um, as a result, people from different backgrounds are bringing I guess, their take on trop rock music to the table. A lot more female artists in trop rock music now that, back in the 90s, when I started doing this, I don't, can't remember really any females that were in the trop rock world. But yeah, I think it's evolved to a more mainstream type of music, relatively speaking. I mean, it's still not a mainstream genre in the whole world of music, but for in the Americana scene, I think it's more mainstream.
Do you recall where the term trop rock originated?
Pretty sure that was Tom and Michelle Becker that came up with that. Um, I know that when they first started the TRMA, it was the Margarita Mafia, and I guess this is around the year 2000. Um, and I know there was a concerted effort even after the Margarita Mafia had kind of caught caught on after a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years. Um, Either they suggested or somebody suggested to them, "Hey, this is a great idea, bringing all the different artists together, but Margarita Mafia maybe doesn't have the best connotation, so we should come up with a genre name." Yeah, I'm not positive, but maybe somebody out there could verify this. I think that Tom and Michelle Becker came up with the term. So yeah, trop rock music.
Okay, and tell me who Tom Michelle Becker
That's
was.
they're a duo called Latitude, and they started TRMA, Trop Rock Music Association.
So do you write all your own
I do.
songs?
I'm it's kind of a sticking point with me. I I say a sticking point. It's really for me, writing and recording music is a way for me to uh, release my artistic, creative uh, influences and really express myself. I don't do this to make a living. So, and there's a distinction. Folks who have to write, have to have songs recorded to make a living, have to approach things differently than what I have the luxury of doing, which is if I never have another album out, and that's just the way it is, I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm writing and putting out music because I want to express myself. I'm not doing it because I need to have a song recorded so I can pay the bills. So because of that, I don't not really inspired to really write with anyone else. Because like I said, I'm really doing it to express my own artistic influences. So uh, I'm not opposed to it, co-writing with somebody. Obviously, I wrote a song with Donnie, um, but I got to. He'll tell you he had to make me write the song with him because I was I was like, hey, why don't you write that song or I'll write the song? And he's like, no, we're gonna write it together, and we did. We did. So hats off to Donnie for that.
Do you have a process you go through when you write a song? Does a melody come first, or do you work on the lyrics
Uh,
first?
almost always work on melody first. Um, I like to write, it's just my preference. I like to write songs that are, uh, I guess you'd call like catchy, that people will may maybe sing and not even know why they're hooked on this song. In the songwriting craft, we call it writing hooks. And I really like writing hooks that people can't get out of their head. From there, I will craft a story in lyrics. Sometimes those stories and lyrics are already something that I've already been working on, just waiting for the right melody to come along. So, in a sense, I guess you could say that I do write the the music or the hooks first, but some of these lyrics or stories are already something I've been working.
And a lot of your songs, if not most of them, they paint vivid pictures of coastal life. They seem to come from your real life experiences. Would you say that's the
Yes,
case?
absolutely. I'm not. I know there's an old axiom. Write what you know, and that's what I try to do. I occasionally will get out of the box and write something that I'm really just making a story up about that I have no idea. And then, of course, there's a lot of songs that they start with a real life encounter or situation, and then, of course, to make them, I guess, more accessible, I will create a story that is totally fabricated, but goes in line with what the original intention was.
Have you ever written a song that surprised you emotionally?
No, not emotionally. I wouldn't say that. No. I've I would say no. I wouldn't say that at all. I was gonna say maybe I've written songs that surprised me with the viewpoint of them, but not even that. It's pretty much what you hear is uh is who I am. So,
Right. Have you ever had an interaction with a fan who was emotionally affected by your song?
oh yeah, all the time. I mean, even now. I mean, and it may just be something as simple as um, like a romance that people hear the song "Rum in Pensacola" or something like that, and they'll say, this, when me and my wife or me and my husband were dating, we heard this song, and it really feels like you wrote it for us or that kind of deal, and I'm like, no, I didn't, but I'm glad you feel that way. But,
So you mentioned that you recently retired from your
yeah.
day job, your business. What was the business, and how is your lifestyle going to be
Well,
changing here?
the business was the last 25 years. I've been I've always been in a grocery vendor supplier to grocery stores. Um, and the most recently, last 25 years, I was independent distributor for a company called Pepperidge Farm. They make like goldfish crackers, and they make a lot of cookies that people probably know, like Milanos
Sure.
and so forth.
Yeah.
They also make a lot of bread. They make
Yeah.
stuffing, and My job for the last 25 years, I had this territory um, for, and it's evolved over the years too, because as business grew, my territory, I was able to sell off parts of it to where when I recently retired, I was only in Beaumont, Texas. But I basically what I did for 25 years was supply grocery stores with all these products. I'd order them in on a big truck. They come in, have a warehouse. Uh, One point I had two other people working for me, but I always worked on the route every day. Um, Prior to that business, I worked for a beer distributor here in the same area, Anheuser-Busch beer distributor for 20 years. So for the last 45 years, I've basically been in the grocery supply business. When I turned 65, I knew I was going to sell this territory, this Pepperidge Farm business off, and I did. I said, hey, this is I want to pursue music full time now. And as far as how my lifestyle is going to change, I'll be able to do more traveling around the country. For years, people have asked me, hey, can you come play my house concert over here, on the West Coast, up north, on the East Coast? And I'm like, one day I will. Over the years, I've made small trips here and there, but now I'm going to do it on a real regular basis starting in 2028. Couldn't do it this year because I wanted to make sure we got everything squared away with retirement, setting up, all the things you do for retirement, uh, and making sure our business was sold off.
It's amazing to me that you've been able over the years to hold down a full-time job and still do all the music and touring and recording that you've done.
It's been a full life, I can tell you that, Bill. My wife will tell you the same thing. It's almost like living two lives simultaneously. It seems like it has been. Um, since I retired just a few weeks ago, I've been able to do some things in preparation for this new CD coming out. And every day I think, how did I do this before when I was working, 8, 10 hours a day? I mean, everything I'm doing now that ties up almost my entire day for the last few weeks, I did when I got through with work before. So I feel like I'm on vacation sometimes. I mean,
Wow.
although I'm busy all day long.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit about your family life and how this lifestyle affects it.
Well, been married since 1982. Mary is, she knew nothing about this passion of mine for making music because at the time in 1982 I was, just going to college at night school while working for a beer distributor, and at some point along the way, uh, I decided, I wanted to return this passion of making music again, probably about 1989, 1990. And we have two daughters who are grown now, Danielle and Casey, who are both, I'm not going to tell you their exact age, but just say they're in their 40s, okay? They have grown up in trop rock music world. They both know most of the musicians and most of the fans who have been around trop rock music for a long time. Also, we have a good friend who's like a son to us named John Byrne, who grew up in Arkansas but moved to Texas about 15 years ago. And like I said, he's almost like a son. Casey is married to a man named Paul Shipman. Of course, he is our son-in-law, but like a son to us as well. The four of them, the two girls and those two guys I just said, they are responsible for running Pardi Gras now, with the help of Mary and I. But yeah, they are very well versed in how to run events, and none of them's making music, but they are doing all the stuff behind the scenes to support trop rock music, and they're getting very good at it. They're very good at it already, but um, they will continue this association with trop rock music long after I'm retired from doing anything at all, pretty much.
That's cool that you're able to incorporate the family into your trop rock musical experience, and it gives you a chance to spend time with them and make music at the same
It
time.
absolutely does. I mean, it's a blessing, that that both of our girls really enjoy this kind of music. And I mean, they have other musical interests too, but they've always been around it, and they've no, they've come and gone from it. But as they got older and got established in their own lives, they've uh, been very much involved, like I said, in trop rock music. And then, of course, John Burns and Paul Shipman, they both enjoy doing it as well.
That's great. So what's your like your main goal for the next few years?
Make more music, really write and record more music, and bring my music around the country. And when I say that, I mean not just playing big events, um, which we've done for years, which is why a lot of people have heard us, really, is because we play a big event here or there. But to really do more intimate house
Hmm.
concert situations where I can really talk to people, connect with them one on one more. Throughout the Gulf Coast, I'd say from maybe South Padre over to really the Tampa. Um, I played every venue and every event there is. So I've gotten to know people here really, really well on the Gulf Coast. But there's other areas of the country that I see people once or twice a year, maybe not even that often. And I know they like the music, but if I could really, connect with them in a one-on-one situation, I think uh, it would definitely bring me more happiness, and hopefully make more fans of some folks who maybe not know the music as well.
Well, I'm in Wisconsin, and we have a place up here called Timler's Tiki Bar House Concerts. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I know that Mark and Kat there would love to have you come up to Wisconsin sometime and
Well,
perform, and we'd love to
I will
see you
definitely
up
get
there.
their information, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is just since I've kind of made it known that I'm retiring and that I would like to travel more, folks have been contacting me, and I really look forward to that. I'm not sure if I can get to every place in 28, but if not in 28, we'll start scheduling everything, and I don't want to necessarily keep coming to somebody's house concert every year, but maybe every couple of years I'd like to get by and and hopefully have a new CD to
Hmm.
play for them too.
Right, right. So let me finish up with some quick, fun
Okay.
questions. First of all, where did the name Hannah's Reef
Oh,
come
that
from?
was easy. It's an actual spot in Galveston Bay. It's a I say a spot. It's if you look at a marine map, it's got some various reefs that are named or whatever. And it's a well-known fishing spot for people who are really into saltwater fishing. Those folks, those fishermen know what Hanna's Reef is. So it's a literally a spot named after. It's not a girl's name. I think it's the last name of somebody. Might have been. I think it's a fellow named John Hanna. It's always spelled with one H, Hanna. And I saw it on a marine map one time, and I was like, Hannah's Reef. That's a great name for a band. So that's where it came from. There you go.
There you go. All right. What's the strangest venue you've ever played?
Funeral home. Uh,
Really?
yeah, I would say, and it was recently for a good friend, and his wife. He passed unexpectedly, and she asked me to play a few songs for uh, his mem- and it wasn't a memorial service. It was actually at the funeral home, and you know what? It was a catharsis for me to do that, and I think it helped a lot of people there, you know, deal with it. At least I hope it did. But I never thought I'd be playing songs in a funeral home. So
What's something people would be surprised to learn about you?
heck, there's hardly anything that would surprise people now. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. I think I've probably done this out there before, but when I was, from the time I was about 8 years old till I was about 13, I played miniature golf um, quite a bit. It was like my my passion away from other sports. And when I say played a lot, I mean 2 or 3 times a week, enough to where I was actually part of a kind of a group that played tournaments throughout the South. And actually, yeah,
Wow.
um, there are probably a few people out there who would know, but it's a small community of people. Yeah, you probably heard of these courses that used to be around a long time ago called putt putt. Um, they're not around anymore, or there's very few anymore.
Or Tom
Uh,
Thumb. Yeah.
well, the putt putt ones were like they tried to make a league out of it with uniform courses and so forth, and they had quite a little circuit going on. They had prize money and everything. So yeah, and I think I'll throw that out there.
All right. And what would you still want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
I'd like to write a song that a very mainstream, very well-known artist would record and make a hit out of. When I say mainstream, I mean something that would sell millions of copies. I think any of us in the trop rock world who are songwriters would love for that, and many have, you know. Um, well, not many, but some have. Okay, you know, Tom Shepard's written, you know, Redneck Yacht
Mm-hmm.
Club and
Mm-hmm.
Riding with Private Malone. I'd like to have that kind of success.
Right.
I'm not writing
Right.
specifically for that, but if something like that happened, I think that would be very, very
Is there one band or artist in particular you would love to be
well.
singing
Like a
that
lot of
song?
people, I think it'd be great if Kenny Chesney or Zach Brown would record one of my songs. But you know, there's probably somebody out there who hasn't made it big yet that I probably have a better chance with than one of those two guys. But you never know.
All right. And my final question. You've watched trop rock grow from a handful of artists into a nationwide community. What do you think the biggest reason is for its staying power?
I think there's always been a pin-up demand for escapism. Um, I think Jimmy Buffett knew that. He didn't start out knowing that, but he quickly discovered that throughout decades now, people have loved that idea of music that maybe takes them to a sunny tropical place, maybe helps them escape that everyday routine. And you know, you can go back as far as you know, Harry Belafonte, you know, doing the calypso thing, and the Beach Boys in the '60s. There's probably artists before that. I mean, the Kingston Trio, but throughout time, and of course, Jimmy Buffett, like I said, he tapped into that. I mean, even Bob Marley, I think, tapped into that. And then you started seeing it in the '80s and '90s with country artists. Well, not just country artists, but you would see these one-off hits. You know, there's many of them. I'm sure you're aware of, not just in country, but in pop music. And they all had that escapism kind of island beach theme. So I think it's always been there. It always will be there. Um, the fact that people can travel more easily now, and the fact that people can communicate with other people more easily now than ever before, I think it's made trop rock music more widespread. It's up, you know, when I was in college, which is now almost 50 years ago, the idea of going to like a cruise I just took last week, I mean, that seemed to me like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, the trip of a lifetime, maybe one. Well,
A
yeah,
dream.
now, I'll go on
Yeah.
2 or 3 trips like that a year now, you know, um, and have fun with a big group of people. So that's how much it's changed, you know.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Jerry, for being my guest
Thank
today.
you for having me.
And best of luck on your
Thank
new album and enjoying that new retirement
I'm
lifestyle.
looking forward to it, Bill.
Okay. We'll see you
All
on the
right.
road. Thank you again, Jerry, for joining me on the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast. For more information about Jerry, visit beachmaniac.com, where this podcast is hosted. There you'll find both the audio and video versions of the interview, along with video clips and links to Jerry's social media pages. You can also watch the video podcast on the Beach Maniac YouTube channel. Just search for Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast.